Hey everybody, it's Kristyn and Ryan. We're here with another podcast episode.
What up?
It is May 12th, Tuesday, May 12th, 2020. And real quick, just want to say happy belated Mother's Day to all my fellow moms out there.
Yes, indeed.
Hope you guys enjoyed as much as you can. I know the circumstances, but as much as you guys can, I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. But anyway, so today's episode, we are continuing our series about the power of now.
Hold on. Real quick.
Bad.
Should we give some shout outs to the fallen? Because there was quite a bit of people that passed this past week.
Yes, there have been. Little Richard.
Yes, RP, man.
Passed.
Crazy. Andre Harrell.
Yes, thank you.
Man. Yesterday, Jerry, his name, is it Jerry?
Stiller?
Yeah, Jerry Stiller.
I think that's his first name. We just know him so well as
Mr. Constanza.
Mr. Constanza. So from Seinfeld, George's dad.
Man.
But
Serenity Now.
Yeah, and he was in so much, so many other things.
He was Carrie's dad in what's that show?
King of Queens. King of Queens. I almost said King of the Hill, but King of Queens. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Hilarious actor.
Yeah.
Well, this one is personal, but I wanted to shout out Mr. Melvin. He was a client of mine, and he recently passed as well. And it's insane because he was on my mind the day I heard the news that he passed away. So, RP to Mr. Melvin. You will be missed.
Yeah.
All right. So, the power of now.
Yes. So yeah, we're going to continue with the series, and today we are talking all about chapter 3, which is titled Moving Deeply into the Now. So, man, what did you think of this chapter?
This chapter hit more to me than last chapter for sure. It really, what's funny is that it answered my question from last week. So it was just like forthtelling in some ways, I guess, if that's the way to say it. But
you want to talk about the question?
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I just didn't think we were gonna jump into that.
I mean, I'm just putting it out there that the fact that it answered my question from last week. That's why this chapter was talking to me the most, because this is like where I'm at mentally, and a lot of times I get caught up in my own head, and this is like, hey, that's not you talking. Like, you need to check the insanity that's going on in your brain right now. So yeah, which is funny as well, how he made it seem like, well, how he talks about it like you're nuts, like the ego is just nuts. It's just an insane part. Don't listen to it. Just watch it, and you will see how ridiculous it sounds. But yeah.
Yeah, so I guess before we get to how it answered your question, so just jumping into the chapter, the first section is don't seek yourself in the mind. And this whole section was just a great opener, and it's just refreshing again that you you're not your mind. You won't find the answers to being present in your mind. You can't solve problems with your mind. Like, all it does is create problems for you. And like at the bottom, he's saying the ego's needs are endless. It feels vulnerable and threatened, and so lives in a state of fear and want. Once you know how the basic dysfunction operates, there is no need to explore all its countless manifestations, no need to make it into a complex personal problem. So again, it's like you don't need to dive into like analyzing your mind or trying to understand it. It's just, it is what it is. It just functions the way it functions, and that's just how it is. So, I thought.
No, at first I thought I had something, but then I'm like, no, I don't.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, and then so after that section, I'm on 48, and towards the bottom he goes into the next section of In the Delusion of Time. And so again we go into, you know, recognizing that time is an illusion, and the key is to only use time as needed.
Yeah,
and not to become as a tool, and not to become part of time, or not to allow yourself to identify with time. Is what I meant. Yeah.
This section. I scribbled all over this section. I think the main thing was that he was just talking about how everybody, I was gonna say everybody, how everybody like put the future in this position where it's going to end all your problems, but in reality it's just another problem that you're stepping into, because the problems are endless, because there's always something else. And I think we talked about this last week too, where it's like you look to the future and in hopes of thinking you're going to get out of where you at now, versus just being present, which will get you out of all of that in the first place.
Right. Yeah, I think he talks more about that later in this chapter.
Yeah, because I mean, on the bottom of 48, he said that the compulsion to live almost exclusively through memory and anticipation. This creates an endless preoccupation with past and future, and unwillingness to honor and acknowledge the present moment and allow it to be. The compulsion arises because the past gives you an identity, and the future holds a promise of salvation, of fulfillment in whatever form. Both are illusions. So it's just like you always look at the future to get you out, versus just being present and accepting where you at in order to get out.
Yeah. He talks about this later in the chapter as well, just talking about setting goals, and how when you set a goal, it's okay to set a goal. It's not saying that you shouldn't try to set a goal, or it shouldn't try to better your life or anything like that, but it's the answer to all of that is in the now. Like, you can only change, you set the goal and you do it now. Like, that's it. Like, that's the key to it all. Like, because once you start thinking of the future, like, well, once I have this, then I'll be happy, or once I have this, then I'll, whatever the case, like, I'll be completely fulfilled. And it's like that's not true, because the future is an illusion. It's like you only have now to correct the actions that you need to correct.
He was talking about, I remember, because he was pretty much like emphasizing the fact that you have to be accepting and enjoying the journey versus seeking the fruit of the labor. But he was saying that if you were in the mindset of just looking for the end result, then you're looking for a means of an out or means of an end, pretty much.
Means to an end?
Oh, yeah, means to an end.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, so bringing it back to this section, still on page 49, but he's talking about the illusion of time and how we perceive time as being precious. And he's saying here in the middle, time isn't precious at all because it is an illusion. What you perceive as precious is not time, but the one point that is out of time, the now. That is precious indeed. The more you are focused on time, past and future, the more you miss the now, the most precious thing there is. Why is it the most precious thing? Firstly, because it is the only thing. It's all there is. The eternal present isn't the space within which your whole life unfolds. The one factor that remains constant. Life is now. Like, that just explains it all. And then on page 50, just furthering that, like towards the middle here, but he's saying nothing ever happened in the past, it happened in the now. Nothing will ever happen in the future, it will happen in the now. And that's such a simple concept, and it makes so much sense.
Yeah, I underline those two phrases myself because you don't really think about when the future comes. The future is always now.
It's always now.
And it makes it, and this is where he makes your thought processes about the past and the future sound insane. And he literally put that in there. But it's just thinking that when you think about the future, you think that it's going to be like it's something that is going to happen.
Yeah.
But then it comes and it don't. Like, it's just like it don't even be close.
But even before that, it's just one of those things that it just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like,
true.
it's this, we're reaching for something that
Fairy
literally
tale,
doesn't exist.
basically.
It's like,
And it's not even based on a true story because it ain't real.
it's like all you have is now. The future is now. Like, literally, the future will be now. Like, you won't know. It's not a thing you can leap to or be like, oh, I'm just gonna jump into the future. It's like, it's always now.
It's
the past happened at now o'clock, and then
at now at then
then
now at then.
Future is now o'clock, and now is now o'clock. It's only now. Like, it's no future past time.
It's funny that, like, I mean, I always come back around to these cliche sayings because it all applies. Everybody say tomorrow's never promised.
Yeah, because tomorrow doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's not promised.
Yeah.
But it's like everybody still lives for the future.
Yeah.
It is. It just make you think, like, these sayings are often said but not applied.
Right. Because it's not, honestly, the way that people use that phrase, it's almost fear-based. It is fear-based.
Yeah.
Because we're looking into the future. It's like, tomorrow's not promised, so you gotta, whatever it is, you gotta get right today. Or it's like, this is all we have. Like, and it makes you almost fearful. On one hand, it can make you grateful. Like, I have this day, this is where I am in my life, whatever. But on the flip side, it can start anxiety for people because it's like that unknown of, like, oh my God, like.
And then all it does is make you think of the future anyway.
Yeah.
So then you start getting worried.
Because you're like, there may not be a future. And I was like, well,
Tomorrow's
right now,
I might die.
well, right now,
Like,
there is no future. It's now.
Yeah, it really is just now. Like,
Yeah.
like, now is all you got.
Yeah. So him explaining further about, like, the past. So I feel like it's much easier. Well, I don't know. Either way, I think it's the way he puts these concepts is very, very simple, and it just like puts it in perspective. But like, as far as the past goes, he says, like underneath the section I just read, he says, what you think of as the past is a memory trace stored in the mind of a former now. When you remember the past, you reactivate a memory trace, and you do so now. The future is an imagined now, a projection of the mind. When the future comes, it comes as the now. When you think about the future, you do it now. Past and future obviously have no reality of their own. Just as the moon has no light of its own, but can only reflect the light of the sun, so are past and future only pale reflections of the light, power, and reality of the eternal present. Their reality is borrowed from the now. Again, it's like every time you think of the future, you're living that future now. Like all the things you're thinking about. And I think that's how the power of like manifesting and law of attraction works, because when you're focusing your mind on all that stuff, you're literally living it. You feel like you're living it. Right. Like now. And then the past, you can get so stuck in the past. And it's just so easy to like, because once you think of the past, it literally transports you to those moments. Yeah, to whatever moment, whether it's regret, whether it's happy, whether it's whatever. It's like you literally feel those same feelings and have those reactions in the now. Yep. So it's like it's all just centered in now. Like it's so simple.
And the crazy thing is that, especially like just thinking of the past, like if it's good, then you wish you would go back.
Yeah.
Or if it's really bad, you wish it never happened.
Yep.
And then you basically rob yourself of the present moment because you are transported back into that imaginatory, in some sense, imaginatory reality that will pretty much take you out of where you at in this present moment.
Yeah. I mean, it is imaginatory because
it is.
Or imaginary because you're not.
It's not happening.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
So
True.
anything that's taking you out of the present moment is
an imagination.
Imagination. You're either imagining what could or what you want to happen, or you're imagining what had happened, what you want to do different, or it's like you can't go. I mean, that moment is not here anymore. It's gone, or whatever. However you say, but it's you're not living it now, even though your mind is tricking you into believing you're living it now.
It's crazy.
You're not.
I was just kind of thinking of like what he said, like the past is just a memory. Like as soon as it happened, that's all it is. That's the only thing that's keeping it alive is just a memory. Right. And it's crazy how you can get so wrapped up in the memories.
And that's the thing. I think there's, like we talked about this last time too in chapter 2, but I think there's power in having those memories. I think memories serve a purpose. But the thing we mess up on is becoming identified with those memories. Yeah. And we want to hold on to those memories so much that we, like you said, we either miss it and wish it could be like that, or we live in such regret and turmoil or like such pain over things that have happened. And it's like, this is not your reality now.
Right.
So, it's
crazy.
Yeah. On page 51, he talks about, just how in life-threatening emergency situations, like people have found themselves present because you are literally, your mind just shuts off because you just go into instinct. Yeah. And it's pretty intense. And he talks about how people, like there's people who do dangerous activities and things like that because that's the rush that they're feeling. They're feeling the immense, present, and all that other stuff just kind of blocks out. And it's just like, man, like the fact that people, I'm just saying generally speaking, people have to do dangerous things or like have out of body experiences or just crazy stuff to find those moments. And yeah,
it definitely made me think about like Will Smith
when he went
skydiving. It's like
for his 50th birthday, he went skydiving,
he really did find it was a very profound moment for him.
Yeah,
because he realized that fear was like keeping him from doing the stuff that he really wanted to do.
Right.
And at the same time, it's like it takes a lot of people to go through those life or death situations to see that presence is all we really have.
Yeah.
And that you will find immense joy in just being present alone, because all problems go away when you're present.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we are not daredevils by any means.
Nope.
We don't even do roller coasters.
Nope.
Like, I mean, done roller coasters before, but it's just not our.
I ain't going.
Oh no, let's not even. No, that's not. He trying to come with a story, and I'm not having it. We're not gonna talk about this right now. So.
That's funny.
Anyway. Anyway, but
great
for
memory
you,
right there.
Yeah.
Great part of the past. That's funny.
But for you, where have you found a moment like that, like where you're just fully present?
I guess I can say when I make music, especially like I think when I'm in the zone, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. Like when you are in the zone, that is really just you're just extremely present. But I find myself like when I get in the zone, when I make music, I'm just enjoying the time that I'm doing it, and then I turn around and hours went by.
Yeah.
Without even realizing it. So it's like, I mean, really, all the problems do go away because you just focused on what you're doing at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Mine was definitely when I first started writing poetry, like way back in elementary school, and I would just lose track of time. There was often times where I would just write out something and I didn't even it was like, I don't want to say it was this dramatic, but it was almost an out of body experience where it was just like just writing, and then all of a sudden I look up, I'm like, oh, I'm done, and then it's just like, whoa, like this is, well, that's dope. Like, it just like this inspiration just hits you, and then you just let it flow out of you.
And it'd be some of your best work too.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
Some of your best work.
Also, I find it when I'm having really, really in-depth conversations with friends, family. It's like when the conversation is like just really good, and you're just like putting your phones away, all that stuff. Like I can lose track of time in that, and like connecting,
easy,
and all that stuff. Like yeah. So, but yeah. So you don't have to be a daredevil to experience this kind of moments, but it is quite interesting that like our minds are so conditioned to be in the past and future that sometimes that's what it takes, is something so drastic or shocking to happen. And I think that's why a lot of people like haunted houses and stuff, like all that stuff. It just takes you out of
the thrill seekers.
Yeah, it just takes you out of that. So I understand it. But yeah.
Nothing bring you more present than pee in your pants.
Okay. All right. So I want to jump to page 54. It's in the section accessing the power of the now. But on page 54, towards the middle, when he says the mind cannot know the tree. So he's speaking about just the tree, and if you're observing a tree, he's saying the mind cannot know the tree. It can only know facts or information about the tree. My mind cannot know you, only labels, judgments, facts, and opinions about you. Being alone knows directly. That, like, when you think about that, like, your mind, like, your being knows that we're all interconnected and everything like that. Like, that's the truth of everything.
Yeah.
But your mind always creates judgments, categories, and like perceptions, and like the way I perceive you, someone else could perceive you completely differently.
Yeah.
So it's like, which one is the real you? When you think about stuff like that, you're like,
true that. You know what? I didn't think about that.
Yeah, and there's a saying about that too. Like, your perception of me is not my business.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah, because your perception does not define me.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like the fact that even if you're like really close to someone, like the thought of that, like you and I are very close, obviously. And then the thought of like, we'll never fully know each other. The mind, anyway, I'm talking about the mind. Yeah. The mind will never fully know you because I already have perceptions about you. Like that is.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yes. But that was a standout to me. I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, I underlined that part too.
Yeah.
That was good.
I
mean, it just makes you think about like, okay, the mind is the analytical aspect of people. That's all it is.
Right.
It's just analytics.
Yep.
Numbers.
It needs to know. It needs to put you in a category. It needs to like make sure you fit somewhere. Like it's always trying to like figure things out.
Yeah. And I think that's why problems always coming up, because they always want to try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Which drive people crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've suffered from that a lot.
We all do. We all suffer from that, I'm sure.
Yeah, but that was just an interesting thought about that. But anyway, so then further into this section, he talks about, being present, what that looks like, and like he says on towards the end of the first paragraph, he says, through self-observation, more presence comes into your life automatically. The moment you realize you are not present, you are present. So the fact, again, the best way to become present is to literally observe yourself.
Yeah.
Which, again, sounds crazy. But you observe, like when your mind is going all crazy and whatnot, you just pull back and you just observe. Like you just watch.
It's almost like you snap yourself out of it. Pretty much.
Kind of.
Because like when he said that, that's how it sounded. It was like the moment you realize that you're not present, you are present.
You are present. Yeah.
It's like,
because now
I'm not being present right now. Boom.
Because as soon as you say I'm not present, that means there's a separation. There's two of you.
Yep.
And so you pull back and you're like, okay, what's my mind doing? Like, what's happening right now? And your mind is going berserk. It's just doing its normal dance and whatnot. And you're just like, and you're just watching it. And it's like the true you is watching. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That's crazy.
But anyway, so he goes on further, talks about the, identifying with your mind, withdraws all your energy. And so it's like just the key is just to unidentify with your mind. Where am I going with this? Unidentify with your mind. Yo, my mind is playing tricks right now. But yeah, and just focus on being in the now. Once you're in the now, then you're present. So
Yep.
okay, getting into the section of letting go of psychological time. This section talking about
goodness.
clock time versus psychological time. Clock time is useful. Like this is, you know, like he says on the bottom of 56, clock time is not just making an appointment or planning a trip. It includes learning from the past so that we don't repeat the same mistakes over and over, which
answers my question.
Answers the question that you had last week. Yeah.
Or episode, whatever.
Yeah, episode 7. But, you know, he's saying setting goals and working toward them, predicting the future by means of patterns and laws, physical, mathematical, and so on, learn from the past, and taking appropriate action on the basis of our predictions. So,
analytics.
Yes. Again, past is important. Like, we do learn from the past. But we do not identify with the past.
Yeah.
That's where it becomes psychological.
Yep.
And so, trying to find where he said it. Okay, so he says on 57, the enlightened person's main focus of attention is always the now, but they are still peripherally aware of time. In other words, they continue to use clock time, but are free of psychological time. I am stammering over words. What is going on? All right, but anyway, yeah, so the fact that, you know, psychological time is like you are identified with the past or the future, and your whole identity, your whole emotion, everything is tied into the time, and you give time such importance.
Yeah.
And that's not how we're supposed to use it. We're supposed to use it like clock time, because clock time is part of the real world, the physical world, which we are a part of.
Right.
So yes, we need time to function in the world, but not to identify with said time. Like,
yeah, the next paragraph, he did give an example of like how they didn't differentiate it or how to use it. Did I say that right?
Yeah, but it just
look, these big words. I guess it's the podcast me using these big words.
That's funny.
But he said, for example, if you made a mistake in the past and learn from it now, you are using clock time. On the other hand, if you dwell on it mentally, if self-criticism, remorse, or guilt come up, then you're making the mistake into me and mine, make it part of your sense of self, and it becomes psychological time, which is always linked to a false sense of identity.
Yes.
Pretty much. So don't dwell on it. Learn from it.
Yeah, that actually was the part I meant to read. I kind of got stuck on whatever. I have like all these sections kind of highlighted, but
yeah.
that's the part I was trying to get to. But yeah, so funny about reading that section, I actually had a little bit of resistance reading that section. My mind had resistance rather, because as I read it and I just wrote, I was like, well, whose mistake is it then? Or was it not a mistake at all? And I think I had resistance because like this section was definitely for me, because I have a lot of things in my past that I've thought about and I'm just like, girl, like what were you thinking? Like there's so many just different moments and I'm just like, I could have done something different, or I could have whatever, or it's like that was the one chance I had to do this and I didn't do it. And then it's what?
Nah, when you said that, it made me think of one situation you talk about, not regularly, but often.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll continue.
Anyway,
I feel the same way sometimes, because it'd be like, I just like think back at a time where I did something completely stupid. I'm like, I cringe. Like, I'm like, man, why did I do that? I cringe.
I can think of a moment.
It's probably the same moment.
It's probably the same moment.
Oh my God, it was a cringe.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So when I was reading that part of me was like, well, whose mistake is it then? Like, if it's not me and mine. So it was like funny that my mind literally reacted to that. It resisted that. It was just like, of course it's my mistake. I messed up, or I didn't take the opportunity or whatever. And it's like, let it go.
I'm wondering, because, okay, so you say that, like, whose mistake is it? Do it come down to, is it really a mistake, or is that just something that you needed to go through to learn?
Well, that was my second part of the question. I said, well, whose mistake is it then? Or was it not a mistake at all? So, but it was just weird that I had this like, I got uncomfortable with this section, even though I know it's true. But I was just like, there was some discomfort in there, and I just like, well, who did it then? Like, I made the mistake.
That part got to your ego right there. It got to you.
Oh no, like, it definitely did. Definitely did.
I had an aha moment with that, like, snap, like.
It's like I feel like because I know it's true, and the fact that my mind gets stuck in the past like that, for certain things or whatever, it's like,
right,
dude, like, what you mean? Yeah.
True. The next paragraph talks about what you brought up earlier about setting goals and and how he like identified that as clock time. Like, set goals, that's clock time. But like, and this is kind of what I was talking about earlier too, where you get so wrapped up in the end result. That's where it becomes psychological time, because you think you identifying with the end and not just going and being present in the task that you have in front of you.
Right. And most of the time when we think like that is the time that we don't get things done anyway. Right. Because we're so wrapped up in what we want our reality to look like, and then we're not accepting where we are now and what we can do now to make those changes. It's like we just want to be happy until I get there. Yeah. He said that too. Yeah, right.
He said if you set yourself a goal and work towards it, you are using clock time. You are aware of where you want to go, but you honor and give your fullest attention to step that you are taking at this moment. If you then become excessively focused on the goal, perhaps because you are seeking happiness, fulfillment, or a more complete sense of self in it, the now is no longer honored. It becomes reduced to a mere stepping stone to the future with no intrinsic value. Heat.
Yep. Heat. Yeah, I mean, even further, this section was so good.
Yeah, it was.
But he says clock, so this is 57 leading to 58. Clock time then turns into psychological time. Your life's journey is no longer an adventure, just an obsessive need to arrive, to attain, to make it. You no longer see or smell the flowers by the wayside either, nor are you aware of the beauty and the miracle of life that unfolds all around you when you are present in the now. It's like you missing life. Yeah. You missing life if you live like that.
That's true.
Because you're not looking at life for the beauty that it is. Right. And the adventure that it is. And you're just looking at it like, well, I just won't be happy until I get this. Yeah. Till I'm there, I won't be happy. And it's like you're missing your life now. Like your life is now. You're missing it. And then I think and that just creates the cycle all over again, because if you're not present now, okay, let me work this out.
I swear we can have people. If you want to count how many times we say now, it's gonna be a lot.
Man, there's Yeah, there's a lot of words we repeating over and over in this, but present. But okay, so but it literally repeats the cycle, because if you're not living in the now, you're trying to attain the future. Then your whole thing is just attain the future, attain the future, attain the future. Then you look back and you're like, oh crap, like 10 years just went by, and now I miss. Like, now you're missing all the things that happened in the past that you didn't appreciate and honor in the now. Yep. So now it's past. Yep. So now you're looking back like, oh, I wish, oh, I miss, oh, I hate that I did that. I hate that I didn't appreciate this. And then it's like, it's still that tug of war all the time. Yep.
I definitely had moments like that too, where I'm like, dang.
Oh, I definitely, yeah.
I'm tripping. I was tripping. I like just enjoying that moment or that time period that I'm looking back to is just, and then it's like now I'm just like, well, you got your chance now.
Right. Oh, we could do I swear we could do a whole episode about about moments and things that we're talking about or alluding to, because we're not even talking about it, but yeah, it's so many moments. But anyway, yeah, so that cycle is just ridiculous. And then like the next section, I know this section had a pretty big impression on you, the insanity of psychological time.
Yeah.
So what stood out most to you in this section?
Well, shoot, the first paragraph, like, I ain't box it in or highlight. I just put stars next to it because it was like, it's just the whole thing. Yeah. The whole thing.
Because I literally have almost this whole section, pretty much this whole section highlighted. Yep. Like, it's crazy.
But basically where he was going with this is that, like, a lot of, like, you get into the religion and the teachings of religion, and they talk about heaven and all of that stuff, and it's like you gotta pretty much suffer now and promise to get to this place of salvation in the future.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, these teachings are really just saying be present, because your salvation is in the moment.
Like, yo.
Yeah. Crazy. Like, stop living for the future, basically, and just live in the present moment. That is where all of your desires, your wants, your needs will be fulfilled in the moment. It's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah. And the next thing, like, the next one after that, in the middle. But
on 59,
yeah, kind of the top middle. But just this one little thing. He said, "This is a chilling example of how belief in a future heaven creates a present hell."
Wait, you have to read the section because.
Okay.
Because.
So he said, for example, it is estimated that as many as 50 million people were murdered to further the cause of communism to bring about a better world in Russia, China, and other countries. This is a chilling example of how beliefs in the future creates a present hell.
So basically, again, the means to the end. Like, so, like, you're doing all this, you're living so much in your ego and your mind, you're doing all this destruction just to get to what you think is going to be the better future.
Some arbitrary promise that things is going to be better.
Right. And really, you just destroyed yourself, you destroyed people, other people, all that stuff, just to get to something that's not even, it's an illusion. Yeah, and then that in turn creates more problems. It does not create the future that you're thinking is going to create. Yeah. And again, it's so funny, like this section, I had another resistance moment to this.
The next paragraph, he was asking all them questions. I'm like,
Yeah, so
Bruh.
so the next section he says, how does this mind pattern operate in your life? Like your life. Are you always trying to get somewhere other than where you are? Is most of your doing just a means to an end? Is fulfillment always just around the corner or confined to short-lived pleasures such as sex, food, drink, drugs, or thrills and excitement? Are you always focused on becoming, achieving, and attaining, or alternatively chasing some new thrill or pleasure? Do you believe that if you acquire more things, you will become more fulfilled, good enough, or psychologically complete? Are you waiting for a man or a woman to give meaning to your life? And I put in the note, like I just put a little note. I was like, sheesh, why am I suddenly feeling lost? Like, it was just like, well, dang, because I definitely think in a way I have been, like, for me, the short-lived pleasures is like my biggest thing is food. Like,
yeah.
Like, yeah, and just
used to be drink for me.
Yeah. Yes. And also just in like the becoming, achieving, and attaining, because I do often find myself trying to reanalyze and rework a plan, and like, well, I want this goal, and then now I want this one, and now it's like, well, when we have more space, we'll be happy, or when we have like whatever it is, it's like, I've had plenty of moments like that.
Yep. And
right there, like, my mind had resistance to this, and it was just like well, like it's like my mind was like, well, so
right.
Like,
leave you alone.
Like, calling us out.
Yeah. Definitely pull my card on that one. Like, what you trying to say, bruh?
But yeah, no, it's all true. Like, and all signs of being stuck in psychological time. Like, that's crazy. And the section, another section that really stood out was, it starts on 60. Negativity and suffering have their roots in time. It's like, like the beginning of this. It's like, but the question is, but the belief that the future will be better than the present is not always an illusion. The present can be dreadful, and things can get better in the future, and often they do. Well, it wasn't a question, so it was a statement, but he responds, usually the future is a replica of the past. Superficial changes are possible, but real transformation is rare and depends upon whether you can become present enough to dissolve the past by accessing the power of the now. Again, all comes back to now. Like, and when we think about like problems that we have and things like that, and he's just saying like, it's created because of your past. Yeah. Because you're just repeating the past. Like, you'll find yourself in the same situation over and over and over and over. And I know that is true for a lot of us. We'll find ourselves in this same predicament. And it's just like, how did I get here? How does this happen again? And it's because you're just replicating the past. Right.
Like, the example he had right after, like, the next paragraph, like, pretty much the bottom of 60, he was saying, you may win $10 million, but the kind of change is no more than skin deep. You would simply continue to act out the same condition pattern in more luxurious surroundings.
Right.
Ooh.
Yep.
Ooh.
And what is that saying? Like, money doesn't change you. It reveals who you are, or something like that.
I think so.
It's something along the lines of that, but yeah, it's basically like those things are not gonna fix your problems.
Yeah, a lot of like the videos that I listen to, like a lot of the wealthy people talk about this, is that you have to start your money management, I guess, financial intelligence and all that, you have to start working at that when you don't have money.
You're right.
Because it's the habit that you have to have in order to have the smart financial literacy traits when you do have money, because having $1 million won't change saving the $1 million or investing it in the right things. I mean, think about a lot of people that win the lottery. They get hundreds of millions of dollars and then blow it all because they never knew how to manage that kind of money, let alone the money that they had before that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, for sure. I think it would just intensify the problems you already have.
Yeah.
Essentially. Like, yeah. But on page 61, towards the bottom, he says, if all your problems or perceived causes of suffering or unhappiness were miraculously removed for you today, but you had not become more present, more conscious, you would soon find yourself with a similar set of problems or causes of suffering, like a shadow that follows you wherever you go. Ultimately, there is only one problem, the time-bound mind itself. So basically, no outside circumstance is going to change the problems that you seem to be facing.
Right.
You can only do so if you become conscious and aware and present. Like, that's because with that, you become disidentified with your mind and with time.
Pretty much.
And with suffering. Like, all of it just all comes back down to that.
Man, it's kind of funny that it's just, he's just repeating everything and
over
just
and
saying
over
it in different ways to just make it sink in.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Yep. It's the same truth, but he's just trying
feeding it in different ways. Just feeding it to you in different ways.
It's funny that the way this question and answer setup is, because it's like the questions, it just feels like they just trying to come up with any obstacle they can think of. Like, but like, the future is good to think about. Yeah. Like, I don't like where I'm at right now. He has an answer to everything. It's like,
I like that.
I do too.
I think that's the one thing that I like more about this book than the New Earth, because the New Earth is more of just explaining the teachings or the concept of this whole, the power of now and just living in the present. Mm-hmm. So with this, it's almost like it's a question answer, and it's answering the questions that your mind will have when you see the title. It's just like, oh, and then as soon as you look down, you're reading the question that you probably had in your head, and then you're answering it right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so moving forward, there's so much in this chapter. My God.
It's mass.
And this section starts on 62. Finding the life underneath your life situation. Again, he is talking about any problem that you're having or you feel like you're having. He's saying is a life situation. It is not your life. Like how, we'll face a problem and it's just like, oh my God, like I can't stand how my life is right now. Like it's just blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Like I'm broke, I'm this, I'm that. And he's saying that's a life situation. That is not your life. Like he's, so on 62, he's like, you think that your attention is in the present moment when it's actually taken up completely by time. You cannot be both unhappy and fully present in the now. What you refer to as your life should more accurately be called your life situation. It is psychological time, past and future. Certain things in the past didn't go the way you wanted them to go. You are still resisting what happened in the past, and now you are resisting what is. Hope is what keeps you going, but hope keeps you focused on the future, and this continued focus perpetuates your denial of the now and therefore your unhappiness. So again, like identifying yourself with your life circumstances, like saying, this is my life, he's like, no, it's not your life. It is a life circumstance. It is a life situation.
Right.
Like, and then on 63 on the top, he says your life situation exists in time. Your life is now. Your life situation is mind stuff. Your life is real. And I have resistance in that part. I was like, what is your real life supposed to feel like? Like, what does this mean? But it's like, I know what it means. But again, my mind was like tripping off of this. Like, it's crazy.
I mean, it's a little fuzzy for me. I know I know it kind of sounds simple, but I mean, it probably is simple, but
it's complex and simple. It's like
how you interpret that.
Your life, I don't know. It's just like your life situation exists in time. So if you are attached to your life your life situation, then you are attached to time, the psychological time.
So, okay. I think it's kind of clearing up for me. So basically, life situations are pretty much time stamped. It's either something in the future or something in the past.
Yes.
Your life is present.
Right. You cannot be present and unhappy at the same time.
Boom.
That's what he's saying.
All right.
So if you're unhappy, if you're having those emotions of like feeling uneasy, feeling unhappy, feeling dissatisfied, whatever, you are not present.
Right. Simple as that.
Yeah, that's it. So all the problems that you're having is just made up in your mind. And not saying that I don't feel like he's saying that the whole situation is like an illusion.
Right.
But he's saying like that problem is not a problem now. Like, you don't have the problem now.
Right.
So it's, yeah.
I know he talks about that too in a little bit more detail, because you can easily think about like, well, I'm dealing with a problem like right now. How does this pertain to me? Because I'm dealing with a problem like right now.
But I mean, he says it right after, still on 63, right on below the section I just read. Find the narrow gate that leads to life. It is called the now. Narrow your life down to this moment. Your life situation may be full of problems. Most life situations are. But find out if you have any problem at this moment. Not tomorrow or in 10 minutes, but now. Do you have a problem now? When you are full of problems, there is no room for anything new to enter, no room for a solution. So whenever you can, make some room, create some space, so that you find the life underneath your life situation. So it's like finding the presence underneath all the mind stuff that's going on.
Right.
Essentially.
Dang, I know it was a part where he was talking about like when you become present, like your decisions and stuff that you make tends to be the best ones, because it is like, it's just instinctual at that point.
Was it in this section? He said
it was either. Was it this part? I think I underlined it, so I think it's later.
Okay. But yeah, God, I know we gotta keep moving, but so on page 64, when he's saying all problems are illusions of the mind, again, it's just going all back to that. And he's like, if you find yourself in paradise, it wouldn't be long before your mind would say yes, but. Ultimately, this is not about solving your problems, it's about realizing there are no problems. Only situations to be dealt with now, or to be left alone and accepted as a part of the isness of the present moment until they change or can be dealt with. Problems are mind-made and need time to survive. They cannot survive in the actuality of the now. So again, it's like you can be on Paradise. I mean, we see all these reality shows, they on Paradise. They on these big houses, they just like have nothing to do but just to mingle and drink and whatever.
Right.
There's always problems.
Yep.
Like that's just like an example, but yeah. And so it's like the circumstance it can be the most glorious circumstance, and your mind will still find a problem.
Yep.
Always.
Like, just think about like when people would say like, this person is never satisfied. Pretty much the same thing. Is like, you find a problem out of anything.
Right. But yeah, so that whole section was powerful. And it's just like every problem you face, every pain you face is created. Like you're creating it with your conditioned mind and your thoughts and associating with those things. Like you're feeling like those things are you and those things are your life. And it's like, no, that's your life situation and that is your mind.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
We are like running so close to the end of this episode, and it's like we
almost at the end.
We almost at the end of this chapter, but man, there's so much to talk about.
Yes. Let me see.
Oh, the part where I was talking about just a little bit ago about kind of like you will be more intuitive with your decision making and everything if you're just present. So it's on the bottom of 69, kind of midway into that paragraph. He's saying, being free of psychological time, you no longer pursue your goals with grim determination, driven by fear, anger, discontent, or the need to become someone, nor you remain inactive through fear of failure, which to the ego is loss of self. Wrong spot. I thought that was it. Never mind.
Yeah, but I mean that section was powerful. That leads to the end of the chapter. The question is, it's on 69. That question, in that state of wholeness, would we still be able or willing to pursue external goals? And in that whole section, he's just talking about, yes, you can still achieve goals, but as long as you're not attaching yourself to them and
right. And it's crazy because even though that's a wrong quote, it still hit home for me because it made me think about my habits, my mental habits and stuff, because I tend to get stuck and get paralyzed in my own thoughts of what if this doesn't work, or what if it does, and things like that. It's just you get wrapped up in the backlash or whatever the repercussions may be, good or bad, and what you do next, and it tends to make you get stuck and getting that the analysis paralysis type of situation.
Right. Yeah, I was trying to find what part you were actually reading. Because so in this last section, like I said, the question is, in that state of wholeness, would you still be able or willing to pursue external goals? Said, of course, but you will not have illusionary expectations that anything or anybody in the future will save you or make you happy. As far as your life situation is concerned, there may be things to be attained or acquired. That's the world of form, of gain and loss. Yet on a deeper level, you are already complete, and when you realize that, there is a playful, joyous energy behind what you do. Being free of psychological time, you no longer pursue your goals with grim determination, driven by fear, anger, discontent, or the need to become someone. Nor will you remain inactive through fear of failure, which to the ego is loss of self. So again, it's like you're not attached to the outcome. It's what you're speaking about now. It's like you're not attached to the outcome, or like if you don't reach it, then you're gonna be
a failure
or discontent or not happy or whatever. And it's like you start enjoying the process of it, not the end goal of it.
Yeah. It was a spot at the beginning of that section. Well, not the beginning of the section, but at the end of 68, the first paragraph after that little squiggly line. I don't know what you call that.
It's a pause. It's a pause symbol.
Yeah. So he said, so do not be concerned with the fruit of your action. Just give attention to the action itself. The fruit will come of its own accord. He was just kind of saying, like, just focus on the task at hand. Enjoy that.
Right.
Be in that moment, because when you do that well, the fruits of the labor will come.
Yeah, it's like the law of non-attachment.
Yeah.
Like, so don't become attached to the results or what you think the results are going to be,
right,
or what you want the results to be. It's like you just put the goal out there and you make the decision now to do what you can now.
Right.
Period. Yeah.
Okay, so at the end, I had one more, and this was kind of something that I'm fuzzy about. This is pretty much why I highlighted it. So maybe you have an idea of what this could mean.
Okay.
It said, you know that nothing real can be threatened.
Where are you?
At the end of 70. It's the last page.
I'm on the last page. Okay.
So basically, I'll just read this whole little part. So he said, everything is honored, but nothing matters, which is heat. Forms are born and die, yet you are aware of the eternal underneath the forms. You know that nothing real can be threatened.
Your real self doesn't die. Like all the things that are attached, that we become attached to through the ego of form, it's fleeting. Like, again, going back to that thought, everything is fleeting, everything passes. Like, it's not, I mean, it's real because it's tangible. We're here.
Tangible,
we're in this world.
Yeah.
But the real us, the conscious us, the present us, the life. Yes. That is not threatened. Yeah. So that I do like that line too. Everything is honored, but nothing matters.
Yeah.
Forms are born and die, yet you are aware of the eternal underneath the forms. Right there.
Eternal.
Your eternal
the life,
self.
The energy.
Yes, your eternal self underneath the forms. You know that nothing real can be threatened. So the real you cannot be threatened by those situations, circumstances, problems that we face, all of that.
Okay, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I take from it.
Okay.
Is what he's saying.
That makes sense. I just like, huh? Like, what do you mean by that? So I just had to underline it.
Yeah, and it's like he ends the chapter with, when this is your state of being, how can you not succeed? You have succeeded already. So it's just like, it does take the edge off of like, it does become more joyful because it's like, why am I worried?
Yeah.
Worried for what?
Right.
Like,
success is in your life.
Yeah.
Did that make any sense to you? No. Did I just say that just try to sound smart? I think it is.
Well, I kind of got what you were going. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in life, you are successful just by existing. Meaning
we are bigger. We are more than our form.
Right.
We are not our mind. We're not our ego. We're not the life situations that we think we are. We're not of our circumstances. We are, the real us is deeper and beyond any of that.
Correct.
So
and we're just here to experience and enjoy.
Right. Yeah, that's what I kind of took too. Is like, it's supposed to be joyful.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a joyful experience, even in the problems. It's like,
yeah, because it's like, without problems, there's no.
That's all the part of the adventure.
Yeah,
right?
It's no fun in not having anything to solve. It's like, some problems are like really hard to deal with, but if everything was easy,
right,
there's no worth.
Yeah. Everything's supposed to be honored, but it doesn't matter.
Yep.
And on that note,
yeah,
we went a little over today.
Yeah, we're pretty over.
Oh God. But if you stuck around, hey, thank you so much
for
listening. and listening to us stammer on words today. I don't know what's going on. But let us know your thoughts. Seriously, hit us up in the comments. Let us know. You can find all of our social medias in the description.
Yep.
And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We're hoping you're enjoying the series and the book.
And if you haven't, check it out.
Yes.
Check it
if
out.
you are listening and you haven't read and you just want to listen, that's cool too. But I'm telling you,
check it out.
Pick up this book.
It's really, honestly feel like this is the best time to read this book because it's so much stuff just
going on
so
in
much
the world.
going on, and all of this stuff that's going on can really throw you off mentally, and this can just bring you back in, reel you in.
Yes, absolutely. But okay, we gotta get out of here. Join us next week for chapter 4. And we'll talk to y'all later.
Yep, we're out of here. Peace.